Hey everybody, welcome to a very special edition of CAF's Heroes of Sport. My name is Bob Babbitt, co-founder of the Challenged Athletes Foundation. Every week, we chat with some of the world's most amazing challenged athletes. And today, I am honored to have Ella Rodriquez with us, plus Pitch Johnson from the Franklin and Katherine Johnson Foundation team. Ella, let's start with you. Talk a little bit about your experience in middle school and high school sports.
Alrighty, so middle school was a little bit harder than high school, if I'm being honest. In middle school, they never really had anything about like a including policy to include adaptive sports into their programs. So I kind of just fit in with the other track kids. I did cross country and track and field for 3 years while at my middle school. And it was really difficult for me, specifically for track, to get in a time. And I really had to fight with the administrators there in order for me to kind of go to meets and then get a time there. And especially peaked when I had surgery in seventh grade. And I actually tried using a track chair for track and field. And that was even more of a fight to get them to let me compete there. But yeah, overall, it was a little bit of a lackluster experience. But high school, I was met with nothing but acceptance, and I actually was able to help my coach kickstart an adaptive team at my high school. And now we have 3 other kids, including myself, um, doing adaptive track and field. And last year at state, I was able to go and take that win home for my school, which is awesome. And I'm hoping that in this next season for track that we're going to be able to bring those kids to state and let them have the best time of their lives.
So you lost your leg at the age of 8, and from there you've played so many different sports, wheelchair, basketball, and everything else. But there's something special about track and field. Talk a little bit about just what you love about track and field, and how important that's been to you.
Um, Ever since I was little, I watched my sister grow up playing soccer, doing cross country, doing track, all of the sports, like pretty much everything. And I wanted to kind of find my own sport after watching her play all her sports. I did all kinds of able-bodied sports. And then as soon as I got into middle school, I right away was super excited to join the track team. And just track is just something that almost anyone can do. And it's so versatile because it's an individual sport. Like you don't have to rely on others, and it's just such an amazing experience. And you really get to train like your own body and focus on yourself while you're training.
So nobody knows more about track and field than Pitch Johnson. I mean, his dad was in the 24 Olympics, ran the 110 hurdles. So talk a little bit about Pitch. Talk about growing up as really a track and field guy, because you guys, your dad was involved with the Drake relays back in the day, and you ran at Stanford. Talk a little bit about how important track and field has been in your life.
It's been a major part of my life. As a little kid, only thing I was aware of that my dad went off every afternoon, morning too, and coach. And then when I went to grammar school, I used to go over to the track. I was 7, 8 years old, walking 4 or 5 blocks. I wouldn't do it now, but I'd walk over to the track and watch the guys practice. And I didn't know there was much more to a university except track and field. Then I gradually learned there's other sports, and then and walking home sometimes I used to see the rest of the university. So it played a major role in my life, just because the thing I was conscious of as a little kid was track and field. And my babysitters were guys from the track squad. And so I really grew up with it and didn't really participate. Then my dad came to Stanford in 1940. Our
Yep.
whole family moved, and I went to then Jordan Junior High School, and we did some running, but it wouldn't have a track team. But when I got to Palo Alto High School, I wanted to go out for track, and I did, and I was a pretty good 440 runner. I won the local championships and all that stuff around here, and then I was fortunate enough. My dad by then had left Stanford later on, by the time, so I got recruited, if I might put that word, by Stanford to run there. So I got in, and I got a scholarship and a job uh, from the athletic department, and I had a pretty good career at Stanford. Like many people, I had a good freshman year, not so good a sophomore year. In my junior and senior years, though, were good, and the senior year was particularly strong. I got second in the Pacific Coast Conference, and I was a good regional runner. But at the national level, I just wasn't quite there. And I, being a son of an Olympian, as I was, always thought I'd make the Olympic team. But the fact is, I couldn't run fast enough. So it was a major part of my life. And then I went back east to graduate school. I ran in a few meets there, but I realized I wouldn't have the time to work out. And it was I graduated in 40 and 50, which was not an Olympic year. So I thought maybe I could go to business school and try for the Olympics, but I just didn't have. I could see I didn't have the time. So I ran in a few things for the Boston AA, but basically, my career was over as far as track and field participation at the time of when I got out of Stanford. But
So one of the things I read was that your dad taught you, something you learned from your dad, was to always shake hands at the race, win or lose. And that's something that doesn't just connect to track and field, that connects to life, right? That connects to the fact that you have been so successful in business. I bet you learned a lot from that.
well, in my business life, which took place in two steps, one was a job in a big company, in a steel mill, actually. And then I came back out to this area, and the answer that I think the being a good person, being honest and decent in your sporting life and in your business life is terribly important.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other thing my dad told me was second place is a form of losing. and he and I'm sure he had his second places, and he didn't do so well in the Olympics themselves because of some problems. But I think that part of being a good sport and shaking hands with people, everybody after the race, win or lose, was a very important thing that he did teach me. You're quite right about that. Then the track and field stayed important in my life. Kathy and I went to the 1960 Olympics and went to every Olympics since then except Tokyo in '64 because it was I had a new job, a new company, and in the 1980 Olympics, Jimmy Carter asked us not to go, so I didn't go.
Right.
Been to all the rest, but I'm not going this year, so I'm going to miss one after a long time. But track and field has been the center of my life. My family first. I think track and field and my work have been the main things of. I'd say I've meant my life a lot. It meant my life to me.
And you've been a huge supporter of what CAF has been doing with the high school adaptive sports program. So it's important for you to pass on that love of track and field.
I've tried. I've worked a little bit with Pally High, not with the sports program, but I gave him a track, which wasn't too expensive, but I was thrilled to do that and name it after my high school coach. But I got excited about the Challenged Athletes Foundation. Susan Butler, who's a daughter of a good friend of mine, taught me about it. I attributed to it, and I've had a lot of satisfaction watching those athletes perform in this Olympics, separate from the Special Olympics. I've just heard about it and how much it means to the people who have something that makes them not a full-fledged athlete, but do well and get the excitement from it.
Well, one of the people you two have in common, Ella, you've been mentored by Scout Bassett, who is 2016 Paralympian in both the long jump and in the sprints. Talk a little bit about Scout and how important she has been for you.
If I'm being honest, Scout has probably been the major turning point in my life regarding track and field. because going into high school, like even though I was being accepted into that program with well open arms, I still kind of carried that feeling of, how do I say, just like feeling like a burden because of middle school and how like it was so exclusive in middle school, and it kind of just carried on to high school, and it really put a damper on my confidence.
Mm.
And meeting Scout and training with her, I realized like this is a realistic like lifestyle. Like this is something that I definitely want. And not only that, but Scout is like the best person I know, just in general. She's so generous and she's just a great person. And like she's my best friend. I still text her, like even like despite the pandemic and everything going on. Just like we've grown to be really great friends, more than just her mentoring me. And I go visit her sometimes. Haven't been lately, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love her so much. She's been a turning
I
point in my.
first heard about this, Ella, and you, I was
Yeah.
really excited to hear about you because you've just been amazing at an international level. And I happen to know Gilroy. Go through there pretty often, like this afternoon later. And
Okay.
to go from Gilroy to the world champion to the Olympic finals, like as you have, is just an amazing, and how wonderful it is that you've overcome what turned out not to be a handicap, but a sort of a help to you to move on.
You know what's fascinating, Pitch, is Ella's, when she was a little girl, she had never, being in Gilroy, she had never met another amputee, had never met anybody like her. So she put out, just she asked Santa to bring her somebody who looked like her, who was missing a leg. And her mom put that out on Facebook. And Travis from CAF is an amputee, and he reached out and connected with Ella and brought her into the CAF family and brought sport into her life. That's, you guys both have this ability to give back. Ella, haven't you been working with other younger kids as well?
Absolutely. Before the pandemic hit and just everything going on, I always was at I also play wheelchair basketball. But I at my program we have a prep team, so I would mainly give back through that, and I would show up to practice an hour early and teach these littler kids how to play basketball and how to like enjoy the sport. And that was one of my favorite things to do. Not only that, but at the high school adapted sports program that CAF has, I had the opportunity to be alongside other athletes, and some of them were younger, and I could kind of give them a little bit of my experience going into high school track and middle school track.
Ella,
And it
when did
was
you first realize that you could make the Paralympics, that you could compete in them and do as well? It must have come to you at some point. Hey, I can get out of Gilroy and I can get to the
yeah,
Paralympics.
definitely. I feel like I'm definitely kind of experiencing that right now because I am now 17 and I'm really looking forward to college. And just I'm looking forward to college, and I'm hopefully looking forward to possibly going to Paralympic trials and hopefully going to the Paralympics soon.
That'd
Um,
be great. And
I'm
that,
so excited to see what the future holds.
I love it.
Yeah.
And Pitch, I know that you guys have a special presentation for Ella today, courtesy of the Franklin and Katherine Johnson Foundation.
I'm certainly pleased to do this. Ella, you'll take a look at this. It's a certificate of a special grant to you. It's going to be at the time that I didn't make this, I didn't know it, but it's going to be for $2,000, and that's going to help a little bit because you've got to travel, you've got to train, and so I don't know whether you can see it very well, but I'm going
We
to hand
can.
theoretically, and we'll get to you permanently when we can. But it's just, I'll read it to you. It says, to Ella Rodriguez, we would like to present you with a grant for sport training expenses from Challenge Athletic Foundation. We are excited to get this offer grant opportunity to you and hope that will empower your dreams as you continue to pursue your passion in sports. Presented in partnership with the Franklin and Katherine Johnson Foundation. My real name is Franklin. I use it sometimes. But anyway, I hope this helps. It certainly will. And every little bit can get you going and get you farther in your chosen field of I guess field of play, if I could put it that way.
Exactly. Pitch, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of your support of our adaptive track and field program. Everything you do for us, we are so honored to have you on board. I can't, Pitch, I have to ask, how old are you?
92.
Oh my God, you are amazing. Are you still running?
No, I can't run. I had my knees changed 8 years ago. So no more running. So I walk every day.
Good
And
for
I
you.
run a couple of blocks. I jog a couple of blocks, and against my doctor's wishes. But so far, so good. It's I miss running a lot. It was a major part of my life. I have a strong wife and strong family I'm close to. That means a lot. I've had a pretty good business career, so but not being able to run is too bit tough.
You know what, Pitch, you've done so much for so many. We really, really appreciate you being part of our CAF family as well. And hopefully we'll be in Paris we'll be in Paris to watch Ella run in the Paralympics.
I certainly hope so.
Pitch
Thank you so
Johnson,
much.
thank you so much. Ella Rodriquez, thank you so much for both of you being on our CAF Heroes of Sport. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Well, I could only say you are welcome, especially to Ella.
Thanks everybody for tuning in again. CAF's Heroes of Sport. We'll catch you next time.